Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Influencers. My name is Bruce Starr, and I have guests that come on this show that influence many people in a very positive way. And today is certainly no different. My guest is an independent LinkedIn specialist. When I first met her, she got my attention right away. She does corporate and one-on-one coaching, sales, sales teams, executive teams in 21 countries. And all of her coaching is customized. She's a professional speaker and a seminar presenter. And what she really does is help people learn how to use LinkedIn like they never have before. And I have to say, much of my success in my podcasts are all from guests that I've come in contact with on LinkedIn. Debbie, I don't know if you knew that. Many ignore me when I contact them on other platforms, but not when I contact them on LinkedIn. And that should be a good enough reason to pay very close attention to this lady and what you can learn from her. I'm going to introduce you to her now. Welcome, Debbie Wemyss. Welcome to the show. I really appreciate you spending time with us here, explaining possibly one of the most influential platforms, I think, on the face of this earth. So welcome to the show.
Wow, thank you so much, Bruce. I really appreciate this opportunity. And, I can talk about LinkedIn for hours. Everything Bruce just mentioned has been kind of a journey over the past 12 and a half years. That's how long this has been my sole focus. I have an awesome team that works with me. But LinkedIn is still a new game for a lot of people. And I started, well, I started up when I was a job seeker at 57. I can laugh about that now. It was not a funny time at the time. Um, but I call myself a LinkedIn specialist. And we always use the word independent. That keeps LinkedIn very happy. We don't work for LinkedIn. This is my company, which I launched, by the way, on a shoestring. No capital. I have so many stories, and I love using them when I work with my clients. And boy, I'll tell you, there's still a lot of people out there, even now, 4 years after COVID started, there are still a lot of people out there really hurting from being unemployed or underemployed. And we are just delighted to do what we can to help all those people.
Debbie, I want to know, like, some people, they get into sales, they sell cars, they sell stocks, they go into medicine, they go into law. How does someone become a LinkedIn specialist?
It might be a kind of a unique story. But it's funny, Bruce, when I started this, I didn't have any idea this is what I was going to end up doing, to actually earn revenue. What I knew was I have been a networker since I was about 10. I've always been putting people together all through school, all through college. And then I went into the hospitality industry out of college. And that means bar and restaurant work, by the way. And I loved it. I loved bartending. Gosh, I mean, I just like making sure that people are comfortable and having a good time and enjoying themselves. I did that for 9 years. That career brought me from New England. I was raised on the coast of Maine, and I still like a lot of the Boston teams. But I came from New England down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, after what we call the blizzard of 78.
Oh, I was there. I was there.
Anybody in New England knows what I'm talking about. It was historic. And I think this January winter they just had is a pretty close match. But I just said, and I'm one who was raised on winter sports from age 5. skiing, snowmobiling, skating, you name it, we did it. We loved it. And youngest of five kids. So I always, got to haul all the equipment, whatever we were doing. It was great fun. And I came from that environment. And after that storm of 78, I just said, okay, I think I want to head south. And a couple of college roommates and I hopped into my new little Ford Fiesta. We drove south, ended up in Fort Lauderdale, met up with some other roommates, from high school, college, and I've been here ever since. So we went back long enough to get the rest of our stuff, and I've been a Florida resident ever since, over 40 years now. And it was great fun. I was in the bar and restaurant business in Fort Lauderdale for I think 3 years when I first got in here into Florida. And then I met the love of my life. He said, "You need to get a real job." So I ended up going into nonprofit work during my married years, and loved that because every business is about relationship building, Bruce. I don't care what you're selling, if it's a product or a service. Certainly, job seekers need to hone their networking skills because they're in front of people that can determine their future. And I love it. I love all of it. You can put me in a room of strangers, I will find something in common with everybody. That's just my thing, and it has been for a long time. So I really enjoy that, and I take advantage of it. And now, when I found LinkedIn, it was still known as the job seekers website. That's why somebody turned me on to it. My whole first career was nonprofit work, all in Palm Beach County, 23 years of it. Loved every minute of it, marketing, media, PR. The last 7 years of that was fundraising. And I loved that too. I mean, I was sitting in the kitchens of some of the wealthiest people in Palm Beach and finding out what their backstory was. I mean, who wouldn't love hearing those stories? And especially when they turn around a week later and give me a nice check for the nonprofit I was working for.
All
So,
right.
those stories are numerous. And to this day, I mean, I really enjoyed all of that nonprofit work. I have a soft spot for nonprofits. I frequently will give away my time to talk to nonprofit executives as a group. We do a lot of presentations. And if I'm able to, I'll either waive the fee or discount it. That's just always been in my blood. I mentioned I'm the youngest of five. My four older siblings, three of them they grew into being executive directors of nonprofits. Uh,
Wow.
my parents met in church. My dad used to run the New England PGA, one of the few chapters in the country for golf that was a nonprofit. So go figure, no mystery why I still love nonprofits. And I just helped somebody today. She's not going to be a LinkedIn client of mine, but I just wanted to help her. She is from Venezuela, and she's trying to start a nonprofit to help immigrant women survive once they get into this country, give them a skill set, raise money to enable them. It was interesting, and it's going to work for her. She's got enough contacts. That's what it's all about, is networking. And she's collecting jewelry from some of those wealthy people I mentioned. And those women are going to recreate new products out of that jewelry donation. And I thought that was fascinating. She's so passionate about it. So I was helping her along the path of these are the steps you need to get a 501c3 so you can legally collect money. Onward and upward. I just love what we do. We're helping people. Um, she's on LinkedIn. At some point, I might work with her on her profile to help her use LinkedIn for the marketing she's going to be doing. But right now, she's got a pretty good foothold on some other ways to market, a lot of connections. Off she'll go. She's going to get her 501c3 before she does anything else. Um, so, in my midst of my 23-year career, I wound up being let go by an executive director that I think was a little bit intimidated by the money I was bringing in. The board told her to hire me. I didn't know until after the fact, 3 or 4 months down the road into this new job, that I was just going over to Palm Beach and, saying, "Hey, I'm working for this organization now. How can you help me out?" And I'd go back with a check and she'd be like, I've been trying to go after that bank for 5 years. I really emphasize to people in life, when you create relationships, you need to nurture them. No matter what you're doing, you need to carry on those relationships. No matter what you're doing, you never know when someone is going to come and knock at your door or help you out when you least expect it. It is so true. And the other saying I'm very fond of, you never know who is connected to who.
Right.
And that is really true on LinkedIn. I think you've already run into that. I put people together all the time. If somebody invests in our services, I'm going to bend over backwards to see if I've got somebody in my network on LinkedIn that would be of value to that client.
You've done it
Especially,
for me, and you've helped me with my headline. That you've helped me so much. It's been unbelievable because I was trying for years to use LinkedIn, and I couldn't figure out a way until you helped me.
it's not unusual for us to hear people tell us how challenging LinkedIn can be. It is not the easiest site to navigate, and it's not always user friendly. I will be the first one to say that. And they keep changing things. So LinkedIn's been around, really coming up on May. In May, they're going to celebrate 21 years in
Wow.
business.
Wow.
Same amount of time as Facebook. They started the same time, but they branched out and went their own ways. And LinkedIn hit 1 billion, that's with a B. They hit 1 billion members in November. And in December, they came out with some stats and they said, we're still adding more than 5 new members per second around the world.
Wow.
Think about that. I mean, that's incredible. It's wonderful for people that do what I do. When I launched my business in 2011, nobody knew what a LinkedIn specialist was. I'd get up at a coffee meeting at Starbucks and I'd say, "Well, I'm launching my business. I am a LinkedIn specialist. So if you're on LinkedIn, let's talk and I'll help you get used to the site and use it, better than you probably are." And they would say, "What's a LinkedIn specialist?" So
So Debbie, let me just say, what why should professionals pay attention to LinkedIn?
that's a good question. I think the main reason is after 21 years, the site has become pretty much a staple for any professional that's in business. You need to have a presence on LinkedIn. And almost everyone now, if I go into start a speaking engagement, I used to ask the audience when I was just introducing myself, "How many of you are on LinkedIn?" A third of the hands would go up, 12, 13 years ago. I don't even ask that anymore. Almost everybody has a profile. And the majority of people on LinkedIn are using the free basic membership, which we always tell people, stick with that. Don't get intimidated into upgrading to a paid membership thinking it's going to be better. It will be better if you take the time to use everything you're paying for. And there's like 7 or 8 new things that you need to take the time to get used to, or you're going to come back in a month or two and say, "Oh, I'm not getting anything out of premium." My first question to those people is, "What are you doing with the extra things that you're able to use?" And they usually say, "I'm not sure, show me." And a lot of times when we work, this is really true. We'll work with people on the premium level. They'll go back to basic once we show them some of the hacks that we know. But they have made some changes to the basic membership, especially at the end of the year last year, that are encouraging us to really tell people that are on premium, stick with it if you can afford it. It's about $45, $50 a month. That's not cheap for somebody that's not working. To fork out that kind of money, you want to get your money's worth. But one of the main things, and it ties right in with networking, Bruce, If you're going to invite somebody to connect to you on LinkedIn, which is what you do consistently, um,
Now, a quick word from one of our sponsors. Imagine being able to train your mind with the same precision you train your body. The Awaken Mind headset offers personalized audio programs that can help enhance your concentration, reduce stress, and optimize recovery times. It's like having a personal mental coach available anytime you need to dial in your focus or unwind after an intense session. I believe that this tool can be a valuable addition to your training arsenal, giving you the mental sharpness and relaxation needed for those critical moments when games are won or lost. If you're interested in learning more about how this headset can be integrated into your routine for peak performance, contact me at the number below. I'd like to share more about how this technology can support your journey to the top.
I have over 15,000 first level connections. I still invite 5 people a day, every day. It's a habit now. I do it with my coffee before I talk to anybody in the morning. um, Now, the basic members, they have to be very selective. They can only extend 5 personalized invitations to connect per month. We
Whoa!
we used to recommend 5 a day, Monday through Friday, in our action plan that we've used for over a decade. And now we have to scramble, and we have come up with different strategies now to get around that bit of a chokehold, because that's what it is. And I will come out and say that they are monetizing the site very clearly by pulling that new regulation. We think it's we, and I'm saying we. I'm connected to other LinkedIn experts around the world. They have far more expertise than I do, a lot of them. And collectively, I haven't heard from one of them that is in favor of this new regulation. And we all recognize it's an effort to monetize LinkedIn. Great. They've got 1 billion members, and a little over 90% of those people are using the free membership. So, what is that new regulation doing to them? Well, it's making them get a little concerned about how they're going to build their network because they have proven themselves. LinkedIn has proven when you can tell people why you want to connect with them in a very concise, professional, short way, your invitation to connect is 5 times more likely to be immediately accepted if you can personalize it and tell them why you want to connect, especially a total stranger. And we've been doing this for years. And now 5. You get 5 opportunities in 30 days to do that. So we've scrambled. I will give some of our strategies. I think we got some time here because it's important. You have to build your network. So the first thing we tell people to start with is this, get into your phone contacts. Everybody's got a bunch of them. A lot of those people know you well enough. You don't need to personalize a message. You can just send an invitation request and they'll say yes because they know you. So we've had to be crafty. And another way to get in front of your target is to follow the people that you want to connect with and pay attention to their posts and engage with those posts. Like the post, react to it, comment on it, say something that grabs their attention to let them know, number one, you read the post, you understand the content. Number two, you're adding value by commenting with a sentence. It's got to be more than a couple of words, no matter what comment you're making. The algorithm on LinkedIn loves engagement. The algorithm, and LinkedIn will never spread a whole lot of knowledge about the algorithm. It's a big mystery. How can I get more views? How can I get more engagement? That's important to everybody, but it's not the end all be all to being on LinkedIn. If you're trying to put out content that is of value, that's what you should focus on. Give people things to read in your post or lead them with a link to something that's interesting and of value. Don't waste people's time. I would never post a picture on LinkedIn of what I had for breakfast out at a restaurant this morning. Now, That said, you will see me post pictures of pretty upscale dinners that we have when we're away at a conference because we're going to promote the conference, the city, and the restaurant. So that's okay. But other things that are really casual belong on other sites, our opinion. We like to keep it professional. It's okay to get a little bit personal. Just be careful, how personal you get. Make sure it's still of value. Maybe there's a business lesson behind how I take care of my orchids out on that patio. It's like nurturing your network. If you ignore them, they're going to die. So I can connect a lot of the things that I post like that. I'm sharing something personal, but there's also a business lesson behind it. That part's okay.
What if people aren't comfortable posting or putting themselves out there? Can you help them with that? Because it's important that they do put themselves out.
Sure, that's a good question. And there's a lot of people that are like that. They're not used to or have chosen not to get used to social media. We even work with people now that are being told, in their office, you need to get on LinkedIn, you need to do this, that, and the other thing on social media. So one of the easiest ways to kind of ease into the whole idea is to be an observer at first. When we first work with people to get their profiles in order for the search engine, we think everybody should have a really good looking profile, very professional. When somebody lands on your profile, they make an opinion in 3 seconds. And it's hard to change that first impression sometimes. So we want people to look as professional as they can. And we want them to be found on LinkedIn for what they do. And it could be selling a service or a product, or they might be in transition selling their own expertise. We want them to be found. The only way to be found, if somebody doesn't have your name and they've been referred or something, or an HR person has your resume, other than that, you need to have a profile that's keyword optimized for the search engine. And when you have that, you'll start coming up in searches and you'll start getting connection requests from total strangers that found you. And to get used to the whole idea, we tell people to think of LinkedIn, depends on how old they are, Bruce. if they're my age, a little younger, we'll say, remember the yellow pages? That's how you want to think of LinkedIn. It's a giant database of professionals. Any industry you can think of, anywhere. They're in over 200 countries now. And what you should do, and then initially get your profile in order, start being found, but be an observer for like the first month or so. We tell people, don't even concern yourself with posting for the first month. What you want to do is try to make more connections, build your network. That's a habit everybody should have and keep going. So even though I have 15,000 whatever first level connections, I still invite people every day because, if somebody connects with me right now and I'm new to their network, they're going to add my 15,000 people to their network as what's called second level members. So there's first, second, and third level members. And I'll tell you what, your network will really blow up in a good way when you start getting used to the idea that every person you add to your network is bringing thousands of opportunities to be found into your network. And then it goes on another layer. So you and I connect, your count goes up by 1. I bring your network into mine as second level connections. You bring my 15,000 people into yours as second level connections. All those second level connections have connection lists. And those are all called third level members. So you can easily see how it mushrooms. And it's all those people in your network that can bring you up in what's called an organic search. 90% of searches on any search engine, not just LinkedIn, Bing, Yahoo, Google, the other platforms, 90% of searches are organic because people don't know who they need. They just know what they need. And that's what they'll search with. A keyword describes
Hmm.
expertise or maybe a product, and you can plug in any keyword under the sun in a LinkedIn search, and you are going to get results. So, you want to buy a tractor? Put tractor in the search engine and then pick people, and you'll find profiles of people on LinkedIn that deal with tractors. I'm serious. You can really put any subject under the sun there. It's really fun when you get into it, but it can get very, very detailed, and you can drill it right down to a professional with a certain title in a certain industry, in a certain company or state or country. The searching is just incredible on LinkedIn to get in front of the people you need to be connected to.
Wow. Wow. So you helped me so much with my profile. Uh, can you offer tips to people to help them attract more people with their profile?
Absolutely. One of the first things we offer, it's never changed since day one of me being on LinkedIn. We take our guidance from LinkedIn. You know, we don't work for them, but we sure pay attention to the results they have from all the research they do. And Microsoft owns LinkedIn 7 years now, and they spend a lot of money researching where the members go on the site, how much time they spend here and there. So the first thing we tell people, first of all, have a narrative, have an about section. A lot of people skip the about section because it requires writing. And they'll whatever they look up for guidance, they're going to see you need to write a little bit about yourself. And a lot of people are terrified to do that. I understand it. I never used to wordsmith on the spot. Now I do. But it's a matter of understanding first person tense. You are going to attract people to your profile that don't know you. So pick a total stranger that might have an interest in what you do, what you provide, kind of work you can do for their company, whatever your scenario is. You're attracting viewers. Most of the time they don't know you. So that about section, LinkedIn has proven their eyes will go from your headshot. Please have one. I think almost everybody does now, but they'll go from your headshot to your headline to your about section in that order. And they will read your narrative if you have one. Remember that Field of Dreams movie? If you build it, they'll come. So if you have an about section, they will read it. And we craft that so that when people finish reading it, they know a little bit about the person. They know a little bit about why they do what they do. And that's the thing that a lot of people leave out. They know a little bit about the company they work for or the job they're after, and they know how to contact them. And they also know why people should connect with them and maybe do business with them. So it's a combination of information written in first person tense because that makes the viewer feel like they know you before they even connect. So when they do connect, you got a leg up already because you're already telling them a little bit, not a lot. We tell somebody's background in about 2 or 3 sentences. And I always tell people, look at my profile if you want an example. I have one paragraph, little paragraph tells people I'm from New England, been here for over 40 years, love what we do. 23 years, first career was in nonprofit. And now I've been doing this it'll be 13 years in June. And I got 3 amazing women that work with me. And we just love it. We are on a soapbox all the time about what you can do with LinkedIn as a branding and marketing tool.
So, I mean, you've helped me so much. I can't tell you all my guests on all my shows, all the athletes, the retired athletes are all on LinkedIn, and it's been fantastic. So, what about some best practices for using LinkedIn? Are there smart things to do, not such smart things to do, good things to do, bad things to do?
Well, okay, it's probably easier to start with the bad stuff. I know one thing that people have gotten very tired of, me included, is being pitched on LinkedIn. And it's gotten to the point where just about everybody gets invitations to connect every day that say, hey, Debbie, these are my favorites. Hey, Debbie, did you know you can generate leads on LinkedIn? We can show you how to get in front of your target. And I'm like, no, stop that. You didn't even look at my profile. And I could probably teach you how to do it better. It's when people realize they can get right in front of their target, it gets a little exciting. And for a long time, I was blaming the younger salespeople. That's not the case anymore. It's a lot of people any age. They get excited and they're just using LinkedIn as a search engine, grab all those names that have a keyword that they need and pitch them. It's like throwing whatever at a wall. Eventually some people are going to grab the bait. It's a horrible way to use the site. It's a horrible way. You have to develop a relationship first, and it takes time. So, number one tip, don't pitch, be professional, be brief. You're taking up someone's time. You can only use 300 characters in that invitation if you can personalize it. Otherwise, you're going to have to get crafty and you're going to have to show your target through their posts you're interested in connecting with them through your comments right on their post. And I know we're already at the point where we're seeing people say back and forth with somebody that's posting, they're commenting, they're adding value, they got this thing going on like a conversation, and we're seeing, by the way, please keep an eye out for my invitation. I can't personalize, but I would love to connect with you. That's coming out right in the threads on the posts. And we knew that was going to happen. And it's okay. It's okay because I think that's going to be the way it goes, for all these people using the free membership. And good for them.
I know we didn't talk about all the good and all the bad yet.
No, the good. Okay. What's fun is when you run into people that you had no idea they were on the site. That's really fun. Or when you run into somebody that you knew from 20 years ago, that's really fun. The good is that it is an excellent branding and marketing tool. Whether you're trying to develop your company's brand, whoever you work for, or your own if you're an entrepreneur, or you're trying to develop your own personal brand. And that's important because everybody has or should have a personal brand. And, we can help them with that too. But it's a huge, huge resource worldwide, growing like crazy after 20 years, 21 years. And people should take advantage of it. And hardly anyone, stays in the same job from the very first job they have until they retire. I don't know too many people that do that. I actually have a brother went to work as a crane operator for GE up in New York, and he retired as a crane operator. So I have a sister. Actually, I have two people in my family. She walked out of college, walked into American Airlines as a flight attendant. That's what they called them back then, and retired 32 years later from American. And now she gets to travel free. And she got out of the airline right at the right time. So she was very lucky. But most people change jobs, and that's where LinkedIn really comes in handy. HR people love it. They love the detail on the profiles. You can say as much or as little as you want, way more than a resume. And HR now, especially post-COVID, they're really trying to determine if you're going to stick around if they hire you. They know you have the skill set when they land on your profile. Now they're trying to figure out, is this person going to fit the culture so that they'll stay? Because onboarding is super expensive. And a company doesn't want to keep doing that every 3 months because somebody says, oh, this isn't what I expected. So that's another reason HR loves LinkedIn. So I just think it's going to keep building, and that's all.
So you've mentioned some beautiful things that you do as a company on throughout this whole interview with you. So let's be a little bit more exact. Let's be a little more focused about what consulting solutions can do for people?
Okay, number one, we can make sure that your profile is keyword optimized so that you start immediately getting picked up more frequently in searches, and you're going to be viewed more often. And there's analytics on every profile to show you that. A lot of people don't even look at the analytics, they don't know what it is. We clue them into that pretty quick. The second thing that we do for people, if they're already on LinkedIn for a while, they've got a good base of connections, we can teach them how to leverage their network. You've got a lot of connections, they're just sitting there unless you take some action to keep the relationships going. We teach people how to do pretty intensive searches on LinkedIn. There's so many fields, even on the free profile. There's 13 fields how you can drill down a search to get right in front of your target.
Hmm.
We do speaking engagements. We have a 1 hour overview. We guarantee pretty much anybody in the audience is going to learn something new after that hour. And I have fun challenging myself at the beginning of every presentation. If you don't learn something new, I want to know about it. I'll give you some free coaching. Haven't had to do that, Bruce. And we also introduce ourselves to corporate folks with that overview. And that gives the people that decide where their money's going, if they want to use us for further coaching on an individual basis, like with their sales team or their executive team. And we have worked with a lot of companies where we're working with top level executives. They could care less about searching on LinkedIn. They just want to look good so that when people find their profile, they can be proud of what they're looking at. That's pretty common. The salespeople, that's a different story. We get into the marketing strategies and best practices for engaging once you connect with your target. How do you approach them? What does your pipeline look like? And now we are very happy to be in the conference circuit so that we take our 15-minute profile reviews, which are free. We do them almost every day. There's 3 of us that do it, and we love that. There's no obligation. In 15 minutes, if the person can be looking at their profile at home over the phone, it's done over the phone. If they're overseas, we usually do a quick screen share. It's just easier. But typically it's over the phone. And we guarantee we'll give them 2 to 3 tips right then and there to improve their profile visibility. And that's a lot of fun because that kind of opens their eyes. Oh, I didn't know you could do this, or I didn't know that's the way that worked. It's very quick, it's very effective, and it's a great way to show people what we do in our coaching. So we do that over the phone from our offices, but now we have an app for event planners, and they can put our link onto their registration online. So when people register to attend a conference, they can also register a 15-minute slot, sit down with us at the conference around their schedule.
Wow.
Same value add at the conference. I don't know of anybody else doing this. And I just have a brilliant VP that developed that app. So we've been doing, we've done 9 annual conferences with the Mortgage Bankers Association. And we've got 3 more scheduled within the next 18 months. We are being introduced to a couple of other industries. And it's pretty exciting. I mean, there are literally thousands of annual conferences that go on every year just in this country. But it's fun to give conference attendees something different, rather than the trade show room and the speakers and the buffets and the happy hours. All that's great, but to sit down and get a 15-minute review and walk away with a better profile, it's been really well received. So we're looking forward to the next year of doing that.
Now, a quick word from one of our sponsors. Imagine being able to train your mind with the same precision you train your body. The Awaken Mind headset offers personalized audio programs that can help enhance your concentration, reduce stress, and optimize recovery times. It's like having a personal mental coach available anytime you need to dial in your focus or unwind after an intense session. I believe that this tool can be a valuable addition to your training arsenal, giving you the mental sharpness and relaxation needed for those critical moments when games are won or lost. If you're interested in learning more about how this headset can be integrated into your routine for peak performance, contact me at the number below. I'd like to share more about how this technology can support your journey to the top. And you've been so helpful with me and my LinkedIn work. And I know that right beside you there, I was going to say, how can people find you? But beautifully done right behind you. If you want to say your telephone number out loud for folks, and if you want to say your website, this will be a time to do it.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, the easiest way to get hold of us, visit our website. It's dwconsultingsolutions.com. And right on the home page, you can check our calendar of free webinars. You can also, off the home page, you can set up one of those 15-minute profile reviews. And you can also set up a call to talk further about coaching. We have a couple of free downloads on the website, and there's a bunch of stuff on there that will keep people busy for a while. The phone number is 561 444 2265. And that actually is on my desk in the corner over there. That's my landline, and I will call you back. If you write to us off the website, it's going to be info@dwconsultingsolutions.com. I will pick a shorter business name if I ever open a business.
Well,
And the map behind me is kind of fun.
this,
You can see a detail of that off my profile. Right underneath my name and headline, there's a link to show you the 21 countries where we have clients. And that's been fun to stick those red flags in that map. So
that's great. Well, you have been so personally helpful to me. I can't tell you enough. Changed my life in many ways, and I thank you for being a neighbor. I think we live real near you, and
thank
for
you.
being a consultant to me. You've really changed the way I do things. So thank you for agreeing to be on the show and for sharing your knowledge and expertise with people. It's been just wonderful. Thank you, Debbie.
Well, thank you, Bruce, for the opportunity. I love what you do, and I'll keep watching your podcast. You have some great guests. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you all for watching and listening in and being a viewer. And I look forward to bringing you more spectacular guests as time goes on. Bye bye, everybody.